You've probably heard of serial killers like Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer. But what if I told you the man with the highest confirmed kill count in modern history isn't from the US or Europe? He's from China, and most people have never even heard his name. Yang Xinhai didn't stalk celebrities or write letters to newspapers. He traveled from village to village, silently slaughtering entire families in their sleep. No warning, no motive, no mercy. And yet somehow, the world barely remembers him. He didn't dress well, didn't talk much, didn't leave a trace. But behind that silence was a storm of brutality the world had rarely seen. Yang Xinhai was China's most prolific serial killer, a man who in just a few years murdered at least 67 people and injured over 20 more. And the most chilling part? He didn't kill for money, or for love, or for revenge. He just liked it. Yang was born in 1968 in a poor rural village in Henan Province, central China. His family were farmers. Life was hard but not unique. Millions of Chinese families in the countryside struggled through the 1960s and 70s. Yang was the youngest of 4 children, and while not much is publicly documented about his childhood, those who knew him described him as quiet, introverted, and distant. He dropped out of school at age 17, and what followed was a pattern that never stopped. He drifted, from job to job, town to town, city to city. He did manual labor. He begged. He lived on the edge of society. He had no close friends, no long-term relationships, and no real home. Somewhere along the way, Yang became a criminal. He was arrested multiple times for theft in the early 1990s and served time in prison. But it was after a conviction for rape in 1996 that something inside him seemed to change. After serving his sentence and being released in 1999, Yang was no longer just a petty criminal. He had become a predator. His killing spree began in September 2001, and from the beginning, his methods were horrifyingly direct. He would travel by foot or bicycle to remote villages across Henan, Hubei, Shandong, and Anhui provinces. He always chose isolated homes, often on the edge of town. Late at night, when the lights were off and the families were asleep, Yang would break in. He didn't carry elaborate weapons. He used whatever he could find inside the house. Hammers, axes, iron rods, shovels, bricks, and then he'd kill, fast and violently, usually striking the head, crushing skulls, and leaving behind blood-soaked floors and broken families. His targets weren't random individuals, they were entire families. He would kill everyone in the house, husbands, wives, children, even grandparents. In many cases, he sexually assaulted the women before or after the murders. He left no witnesses, and rarely took anything of value. This wasn't about robbery. It was about annihilation. When investigators finally caught him, they asked why he did it. Yang replied, "I always killed the entire family. That way there'd be no one left to seek revenge." Each time, he would vanish into the night before dawn. Back on foot, back to the road, back into nothing. The bodies were discovered in the morning, and by the time police could react, he was already in another town, looking for his next house, his next victims. In less than 3 years, Yang Xinhai slaughtered at least 67 people. Most were asleep when it happened. None had done anything to provoke him. They were chosen simply because they were there. As the body count rose, panic spread through rural northern China. People began locking doors, sleeping with weapons under their beds, even taking shifts to stay awake at night. Villages that had felt safe for generations were suddenly terrified, and yet few people outside those provinces even knew it was happening. China's government, wary of public panic, kept media coverage minimal at first. There were no TV specials, no documentaries, no warning posters, just fear, passed from one whispering neighbor to another. Still, police were watching. They were mapping the murders, looking for patterns, narrowing search zones. Yang had left little evidence, but over time, the investigators began to connect the killings. Same methods, same timing, same rural isolation. They didn't know his name yet, but they knew he was moving. Always one step ahead, always somewhere new. That changed on November 3rd, 2003. Police in Changzhou, Hubei Province, were doing a routine inspection at a local venue. Some say it was a nightclub, others a roadside hotel. Inside, they spotted a man in ragged clothes, acting strangely. He didn't have proper ID, and when they questioned him, something didn't feel right. They brought him in for questioning. That man was Yang Xinhai. Once in custody, Yang didn't resist. He didn't deny. He simply confessed to everything. He told investigators about the families he had killed, describing dozens of murders in exact detail: the homes, the tools, the faces. His cold, emotionless delivery stunned even veteran detectives. He explained how he picked targets, not because of any grudge, but because they were easy to reach. When asked how he felt about the murders, he said, "Killing people is very interesting." It took weeks for authorities to verify the full scope of his crimes, but by January 2004, Yang Xinhai had been charged with 67 murders and 23 attempted murders, making him, by sheer numbers, one of the deadliest serial killers in modern history. His trial was held behind closed doors in early 2004. There was no need for a jury, no appeal, no hesitation. On February 1, 2004, the court sentenced him to death. 15 days later, on Valentine's Day, Yang Xinhai was executed by gunshot, a single round to the back of the head. He was 35 years old. His body was cremated. His name was briefly whispered in the news, and then silence. Despite the unimaginable scale of his crimes, Yang Xinhai remains a ghost in the public memory. There are no major documentaries about him, no dramatizations, no global headlines. But maybe that's what he wanted: not fame, not fear, just the kill. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe to stay tuned for more updates.